Hello, everybody, and welcome to a debut show here on Pit Road Productions. It's going to be the Envy Simsports International Sports Car Challenge, sponsored by WBM Racing. It's going to be an absolutely belter of a series, ladies and gentlemen, an absolutely phenomenal selection of tracks. And not only that, we're going to have the GT3 and the LMP hybrid cars here and present for that. But my name is Daniel Zippy Salmon. I'm going to be your commentator today, joined in the booth by the one and only Rob the Goatee Campbell. He's going to be working the production controls and doing some commentary as well. But Rob, I've got to say, Road Atlanta, definitely one of my favorite tracks here in Pit Road Productions. It's certainly one, actually probably the debut race certainly for this series, and also the race that I would most want to drive. I almost felt that we had to get Richard in here in my place to, give me a chance on track. But don't get me wrong, sometimes can definitely have a little bit of interesting repercussions. But Rob, certainly you're familiar with this track, with this car setup. Tell us a little bit about how you would approach this.
Well, yeah, I was kind of worried you were going to just leave us hanging high and dry, Zippy, in the booth and be trying to worm your way out on track. But Road Atlanta, I think it's fairly safe to say it's one of the most popular tracks on iRacing. Anytime a race comes here, whether it's official or league, you see the population or the turnout and the participation really skyrocket. So no doubt here tonight we've got 25, 26 drivers on the grid, so it should be a good turnout here tonight. Not a whole lot of overtaking opportunities, Zippy, as you know. Around here, you really got to try and take advantage when you get a chance into turn 1 and turn 10 are really your best chances here tonight.
Oh, absolutely, Rob. And actually, speaking of the schedule, let's take a very quick look, ladies and gentlemen, at this absolutely fantastic assortment of venues. We're starting at Road Atlanta before we head off to actually a whole front page is pretty much Zippy approved tracks. With Watkins Glen being second, Daytona in third, Sebring, definitely a lot of people going to be driving that at the minute in fourth. Fifth as well, look pretty good. Sixth off to Le Mans, definitely not my favorite, ladies and gentlemen. But as we have a look at round 7, you go to Suzuka, Spa, Hockenheim, Aragon, Imola, and then definitely not one of my favorites is Fuji. But certainly the first half of the season, very much a good excuse for me to get out of the commentary booth, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a absolute belter, but they have indeed done qualifying. And certainly, Rob, as we go into this, certainly a debut event, it's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for us. Certainly, it's not the first multi-class race we've done. It's actually the second, ladies and gentlemen. So we learned some lessons on the first, which worked out great for you guys. But certainly, it's a new experience for us. And not only that, we're learning another series as well. I mean, obviously, we're going to get used to seeing you guys on the track. And I've got to be honest, like a good portion of the field we already know from WBM Racing. Certainly, rebuild memories. We got the likes of Austin Diltz in here, Morgan Smith, Parker Doom, all of these guys in here, we're all very familiar with them. Malik Bass as well, he's in here as well. Actually, Malik helped get this computer running that we're broadcasting. Well, Rob's computer is broadcasting today, but he helped me get my computer going, him and Mo got mine going. So again, a huge thank you to those guys for that, knowing how technically challenged I am, and in some ways just challenged as well, but we'll leave that out for interpretation, ladies and gentlemen. But let's take a quick look at the grid if it's quite ready. Certainly in another couple of seconds it should be just about there.
For qualifying to finish up, and then we'll click over to our Zippy.
Well, definitely
15-minute qual here tonight, so a lot of time for our drivers.
There we go. Well, definitely a fun group indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at this grid, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Shut up and drive it. Stephen Finch in P1 with Austin Diltz in second. Morgan Smith is going to take third with Parker Doom in fourth. Ethan Reed takes fifth with Jordan Martin in sixth. Matija Grabovac is in seventh with Gabriel Crozier in eighth. And that rounds out the LMP hybrid starts. Then we got Pedro La Silva. He's leading the GT3s with Daniel Pino second on the grid there. That's the front row. Michael Morbedo in third with Curtis Matthews in fourth. Avi Sierra is in fifth alongside Tanner Krikani. Malik Bass, again, WWN drivers. He's there in seventh with Kyle Mills in eighth. Jakob Fury is in ninth with Michael Manarino in 10th. Chris Reeves takes 11th with Carl Bucher in 12th. Bell Gable in 13th and Tyler Watson in 14th. And as you can see there, a couple more drivers, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Rushton in 15th. Frank Manarino. So it looks like we've managed to get another set of brothers here, Rob. I'm curious. We're going to have to find it out. And Joseph Kronk in 17th. So I've got to say, absolutely fantastic turnout for a debut round.
Yeah, we can't really ask for much more. A little heavier on the GT3 side of it than GTP, but we'll take it. It definitely is going to be tight confines out there tonight with the two different classes of field, or of car. So fewer the GTPs out there, then gives the GT3s a little more room without having to worry about those guys racing up behind them. The interesting thing here, Zippy, will be to see how these GTP drivers adapt to the new tires this season. I don't know if you've been out in the car yet with the new tires,
I
but
tried. I
it's been a
tried.
little dicey the times I've tried it. So interesting to see how much time our drivers have had, as it's only been a few days since the new season's kicked off.
Well, certainly that is one of the things we were keeping in mind coming into this session. Certainly I was pre-warned that the GTPs may indeed test the tyre model by testing it into the tyre barrier, perhaps, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly I did have the pleasure of trying to drive them, and the key word being try, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, there's some absolutely fantastic paint jobs. I'm not going to lie, it's definitely a very biased opinion on that front. The WBM paint staff, that is Morgan Smith, ladies and gentlemen, he is an absolute machine when it comes to making the paint, and certainly he's only got one standard for doing it, and that is perfection, ladies and gentlemen. You can see we've got the green, we've got the red, we've got the purple. I think Austin had the purple. Absolutely fantastic. I gotta say, I don't see a British Racing green one yet, so not quite there in terms of perfection, in terms of my eyes, but certainly the patterning, absolutely gorgeous. I gotta say, it's looking very, very crisp here on Pit Road Productions.
Yeah, it's a nice mix. Looks like that chrome is really popping on those GTP Zippy. So like you mentioned, real sharp paint job out there for those guys. So it'd be interesting to see how long they were able to keep those cars in that pristine condition out here tonight. As Road Atlanta's got a lot of kitty litter in around the track. They start throwing it up around the track at each other. Those beautiful paint jobs are going to go by the wayside pretty quick.
Well, it may just be the cars and the drivers that end up with skid marks, ladies and gentlemen, but hopefully not us here in the commentary booth. Don't get me wrong, I've not ruled it out, the prospect, though. There is a fresh set on standby, but definitely some beautiful paints there. And I gotta say, I'm blown away with the size of the field. And not only that, like, a big worry whenever you have multi-class racing is that you end up with one class being so heavily dominated in comparison to the other. And I gotta say, it's not an equal split here, but it's pretty damn good, Rob. I gotta say, I mean, I'm seeing at least 8 LMP hybrids on the grid. Actually, Gabriel Crozer, he's going to have a hard job. He's starting back in 24th place overall. Definitely not the ideal spot, and definitely going to have a little bit of a disadvantage here. I don't think he posted a qualifying time, and I think that may indeed definitely affect his race. But I've got to say as well, a very eclectic mix in terms of I rating in the drivers as well. The highest number I'm seeing, about 3,800 IR, going down as low as 780, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly, you know, a very eclectic mix. But don't get me wrong, we've all had to start somewhere. And certainly, you know what, if you're going to start with a broadcast, absolutely get it done here at Pit Road Productions. But they're going through 10A and 10B in beautiful synchronization. I gotta say, I'm hearting up a little bit here as these guys are going to be getting ready to take the green flag in just a moment.
Yeah, we're heading into the final corner here, Zippy. It looks like Stephen Finch and Austin Dilt's going to lead them around. As here we go, Finch gets a massive jump over Dilt's to start. He's going to easily lead it into turn one, but Dilt's going to have to deal with Morgan Smith and Peter Doom now as they battle for second spot.
Well, the biggest thing I'm going to say to these guys is cold tires, cold tires, cold tires, and they're certainly going to be communicating in Discord as we see one of the Morbedo brothers. No, actually, no, it's not Morbedo. It's a Manarino where we have two of them, ladies and gentlemen. We do need to find out from the chat, from the league admins, whoever feels the urge. Let us know how are these guys related. Certainly, we'd love to find out. But you see an absolutely gorgeous Ferrari there of Pedro da Silva in the number 55 machine. I've got to say, absolutely loving the paint job. It's very out there, very pops, and you can certainly pick it out of the crowd. But he's got that Ferrari 296 GT3. He's got it out in the lead. Certainly, the GT3 is offering a lot more forgiveness so far. And actually, very quickly, these guys are getting it into single file and sorting stuff out. But I do have a feeling something may have happened with the number 14 car of Austin Diltz. He's showing his drop down 4 places, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Diltz dropped back a couple spots. Right now, he's battling with Matija Karbovic and Gabriel Crozier. Not seen anything pop up on timing and scoring here, Zippy, so it might have been he just might have got a little loose with those new tires and had to collect it up, but doesn't look like he went off track or got involved in the incident directly.
Well, that's definitely some good news. And certainly the tires here on the GT hybrids definitely providing a set of challenges there, as the LMPH drivers very much getting stuff in order very quickly, all very controlled, very sensible. I have a feeling it's either going to be very all or nothing. The first race, these drivers definitely exercising very good restraint there. As you can see, actually, that looks like Parker Durham applying a lot of pressure to the back of the number 58 car of Morgan Smith. But they are just 0.2 of a second apart, ladies and gentlemen. But there's also battles going out in the GT3 field. It looks like 5th place for GT3. Javi Sierra, he's under attack, or doing some attacking, sorry, on Curtis Matthews, as that's Morgan Smith gone off into the grass.
Yeah, looks like Morgan Smith dropped a tire, but he's able to collect it up and keep going, Zippy. So nice to see so far. I'm surprised we didn't actually see any of our GTP drivers have a little bit of an incident with the tires. So I'm going to slow clap for them, because the 4 or 5 races I've tried this week haven't went so well for me. So nice to see for them is Morgan Smith trying to put some pressure on Parker Doom for 2nd overall. Stephen Finch right now is kind of checked out from these guys. He's got a 1.8 second gap over 2nd and 3rd place right now. So they're going to have to try and work together, try and chase back Stephen Finch if they want to battle for top spot in the podium.
Well, certainly we're going to leave that battle. Actually, saying that, there's another GTP battle happening just in the background there, and that's between Matija Grabovic and Jordan Martin. They're just about 0.2 of a second behind. It's a BMW versus a Porsche, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not mistaken. And certainly the 2 German automakers are going to be going wheel to wheel. I'd say hand in hand, but I don't know if that's going to quite work in this scenario. But right now, this is a battle for, I believe it is 5th in class, ladies and gentlemen. I would say it's 5th in class. Certainly 3rd, not that far ahead, but very much you got to weigh out the pros and cons as well. You know, you want to stay in the slipstream, and this being a 45-minute race, the fuel tanks have indeed been limited to force a pit stop as well, so there's another factor to keep in mind. But we are going to try and keep an eye on the, well, that's the thing with multi-class racing, Rob. We've got battles in both the GTP hybrids and indeed the GT3s as well.
Yeah, looks like we got a battle still raging on here for 1st in the GT3s. Our pole sitter Pedro Silva still holding on to top spot in GT3, but he's feeling a lot of pressure from Daniel Pino right now for 2nd spot. They've opened up a bit of a 2-second gap over 3rd place, so it's a 2-car battle right now for the top of the GT3 field. And we're seeing looks like Michael Morbetto, the first of the Morbetto brothers, or no, sorry, Manarino brothers. You got me mixed up with the count too.
You did it as well.
He's got a bit of a gap in between. Then we see a battle a little further back going on here for, I believe this is 5th in the GT3 class between Curtis Matthews and Javi Sierra.
Well, this is one of the prime passing opportunities that Rob was mentioning earlier in the race, and it looks like Javi managed to get by Curtis Matthews, but it's not over yet. He's got Tanner Kritkani right behind as well, as we see a whole fleet, and this looks like another WBM driver. Ladies and gentlemen, these guys are out in force and in all different cars as well. So Tanner Kritkani, definitely a WBM driver there as well, as is the next 2 cars behind. Wowzers, WBM really showing up in force. It's a good job we don't have a teams championship. Kyle Mills representing as well, as is Malik Base as well. Absolutely huge field, and I gotta say, a huge appreciation as well. I believe Morgan has gone and given these guys different colored wingtips and stuff like that to help us differentiate these cars apart, definitely making it a little bit easier. But the WBM guys very much keeping it in check right now. But actually, as I have a look through, this is one of the battles developing. It's one of the Manarino brothers. It's Michael Manarino, and he's got Kyle Buchel behind him and Tyler Watson. This is going to be a 3-way fight there for 9th place in class.
Yeah, it looked like Buchel thought about making a move on the inside of Manarino, but thought better of it. And then Manarino, I'm not sure if he was watching too much in his mirrors there, dropped a couple tires off in the grass. That's going to allow Buchel to try and make another move here as they head down the back straight into turn 10. The prime overtaking position I mentioned earlier on, looks like that BMW of Buchel going to be able to get around Manarino into turn 10. We'll see if Tyler Watson able to capitalize too as well. He's looking left and right. Oh, I think they might have just touched a little bit there, but they gathered it up, Zippy, and they're able to continue on.
Well, it looked like a game of chicken, and I think in this case, the BMW has indeed come out. That Tyler Watson able to get one up there on Michael Manarino, and definitely it was very much a game of chicken on that one. It's kind of like almost chicken, peekaboo, or Russian roulette, and certainly, you know what, he got the job done, able to sneak ahead and claim that 10th spot in class as battles continue to happen, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Parker has been able to catch up with Stephen Finch as well for the lead of the LMP hybrids.
Yeah, he's got that gap down to 7/10. Last we checked on Parker, he was battling with Morgan Smith, so something's happened to there for Morgan to drop back, but Parker's been able to close that gap down under a second now, so starting to get in with draft range. We'll be able to see if he's able to capitalize and make a charge here in the next lap or two.
Well, actually, speaking of laps, we're on lap 6, and I'd say at this point the tires on them hybrids is just starting to come into play, as that, I believe, a GT3 was off in the dirt. That's one of the Acuras, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to find out. I seen the puff of smoke, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to have to find out. Maybe it was an incident. Well, not entirely sure at this point. Certainly Rob may be able to find that, but I believe we got another battle happening right now as well, and it's for 13th in class between Michael Rushton and Bale Gable. Actually, no, it's Frank Manarino and Michael Rushton. My apologies. I'm using two different timing screens, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. That's what I was aiming for. Rob, please dig me out of this hole.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we got Frank Manarino trying to hold off the charge of Michael Rushton. Michael Rushton's trying to rush to make a move around Manarino, but they've got this battle going on that is for 19th overall and 9th in class, but it looks like we just lost Manarino off track. He's got himself back on, able to keep it out of the wall, but had to gather himself up. Oh, looks he's going to pull over, and I thought he was going to call it a day, Zippy, but he's gathered back up. I'm not sure if he had a little bit of a scare, a little Code Brown moment there, but he's got the leaders in GTP coming up behind him there, as that's front end of our GTP field starting to get into lap traffic. This is where we're really going to see a little bit of strategy start to come into play.
Well, certainly lap traffic is both the bane and the pleasure of an existence here in a multi-class racing. And to me, it's honestly one of the perks. Certainly, with my lack of talent, having to drive the faster car makes me feel like I actually have some pace, ladies and gentlemen. Not that there's a power difference or anything like that, aerodynamics. Absolutely not. Pure skill, ladies and gentlemen. But one of the things I do like to do is use lap traffic to my advantage. So certainly you can often position your opponent behind a lap car and almost box them in. And certainly in a situation like this here, you can see the lap traffic. Stephen Finch has got nowhere to go. Parker Doom, see right here like that. Stephen Finch would be able to almost box in Parker Doom, and there you go. Pretty much just happened there, and the GT3 making itself not intentionally wide, but certainly becoming a bit of an obstacle there, and that gives Stephen Finch in the number 3 car about an extra 3 tenths advantage in trying to get away and retain that pole position.
Yeah, it was a nice onboard look there to be able to see how the traffic came into play with Finch and Doom trying to weave their way through Kyle Buchel and Tyler Watson. Both of the GT3 cars did well to stay out of the way for the most part. Tight confines here, so there's only so much they can do, Zippy, but they did well to try and stay out of the way. But the traffic isn't done here yet. You can see just up ahead of Stephen Finch is another couple GT3s up ahead of Kyle Mills and Tina Carney. So say he's going to catch them before the next corner, but unfortunately Parker Doom might get stuck behind them and have to wait.
Well, I do feel very guilty. I can't decide how to pronounce Parker's last name. I've never actually thought to ask the guy, and I definitely feel a little bit guilty about that, and I know that the guys are going to be absolutely laughing at me, something rotten, and that's okay, guys. By all means, correct me. And certainly I've been called a couple of names at times, but you know what? It's all in good banter, certainly, and that's one of the things I most like about WBM. And don't get me wrong, not only are they the sponsor, they're a great bunch of guys as well. Certainly Morgan definitely gives me a bit of a checkup every now and again, but in a good way. And you know what? It's fair to see as well that these guys are definitely they're having a lot of fun. But we've got battles happening throughout the field. Austin Diltz, actually, he's dropped back quite heavily there. He's now back in 7th place. He's dropped back 5th from where he started, and looking to try and make a move there on the Porsche ahead of Ethan Reed in the 22 machine.
Yeah, as they're trying to make their way around the lap traffic there of Manarino, one of the Manarino brothers. I believe I'm going to call them brothers until we hear otherwise, but they make it through. Diltz, as you mentioned, down 5 spots from earlier on a recovery run, trying to deal with Ethan Reed as they get through traffic. So not only is he trying to find a way around Reed, but he's also trying to find a way not to clear out a couple of those GT3s as they're heading through the corners. And again, we're seeing some great navigation of traffic by our GTP drivers. This is something you don't normally see in a lot of official races. By now, I would suspect you would have seen a couple of those GTPs just kind of clear off some GT3s, and well done by our drivers. It's nice, clean racing at this point.
Well, I've got to say, Rob, certainly I definitely think that a lot of the drivers are trained and calibrated to do so. This is a league where there is post-race incidents that do get looked at, and for lack of better words, it's very much a no BS kind of system. If you're in the wrong, it doesn't matter who you are. Admin, doesn't matter. Everybody's treated very equally, and I think, you know what? That's a great way of having it, and it's refreshing to see a league where there isn't any bias or anything like that. It's completely balanced, and I know that John puts a lot of work into doing that himself and the rest of the admin team. I've not managed to get quite familiar with them just yet, but I've got to say, fair play to you, because certainly, you know, race control, even post-instant review, can be incredibly cumbersome, and honestly, I think that's part of the reason that they have such great attendance here tonight. I mean, 25 cars attending the first race is nothing short of fantastic there, Rob.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. I suspect it'll only go up from here, Zippy, as we take a look back at the battle for first place in GT3. Still Pedro da Silva leading the way and Daniel Pino in second. They've now opened up 5 seconds over Michael Morbetto in third. So right now, 2-horse battle out front of the GT3 field. I can't remember if you mentioned, I know you said the fuel tanks are limited, Zippy, but I assume they're going to have to make a pit stop at some point in time here tonight. Are they limited enough that they go the whole race, or are they going to have to pull in for at least some fuel?
From what I can recall, they are definitely limited enough that certainly the hybrids are not going to be able to make it on 1 tank of gas. Don't get me wrong, I got a feeling some of them may try, but it's not. It's already been deliberately calculated that that is not an option. Certainly myself, I love trying to play a bit of fuel light bingo, but I think we got a battle happening as well back in 14th place there between Chris Rees and Bell Gable. And I've got to say, you know what? There's battles happening throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, the Porsche of Bell Gable, ladies and gentlemen. I believe, yeah, Chris Rees was able to get ahead, and not only that, these guys must be on the same team. I do wonder if it was a tactical decision there in the pair of Porsches.
Well, I got a replay here, Zippy. We can take a quick look here and see how that happened.
Well, here you go. You see Chris Rees in the back. He's got an absolutely fantastic slipstream, leaving, I've got to be honest, loads of room there for his teammate. And absolutely, yeah, that's a textbook pass. And yep, through he goes. Great job there in the 911 by the 211. I didn't quite come out how you knew what I wanted to do. The 911 by the 211. And it's still backwards. Ladies and gentlemen, numbers apparently not working for me today.
Blame it on Porsche for their numbering system. You're trying to throw
Works
in the 911, the 992 version of the 991, then you get the 211 car on track. So we'll just blame it on the Porsche headquarters in Germany on that one.
Oh, that definitely works for me. But again, more battles happening throughout the field. I think Tanaka Carney and Kyle Mills, both of them guys, if I recall, are WBM drivers. And I gotta say, very different choices of machinery. The Mustang I'm hearing is the hot GT3 right now. Certainly, I took the AMG out at Sebring last night, myself and Morgan, and for lack of better words, it sucked. I mean, it sounded beautiful, but it felt like a tank, you know? It felt like driving, let me think here a minute. No. 404 not found, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get back to the point I'm going to go with that one. It's maybe John Daly. It felt like driving John Daly through Sebring, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, it was vulgar and it had, you know, some pleasing talents, but it definitely wasn't the experience you were necessarily looking for. But certainly, I do think these guys are definitely playing nice. I do think maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on, perhaps, you know, by Kyle. He's sitting here behind Tanakrit Carney. You know, I do wonder if he's going to be able to enable Mills, perhaps, to do a little bit of leapfrogging there in the pits.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if there's fuel strategy at play, like you mentioned, by Kyle Mills. He's trying to chase around his, I guess we can just call him teammate. We're rocking the same paint scheme. I know there's no teams in the race in the league here tonight, but we've got some similar painted cars, so we'll call them theoretical teams on track. So it could be a little bit of strategy. We'll see if they swap around later on in the race to try and reverse the fuel strat for each car. But looks like we've got Austin Diltz and Matija Grabovic still battling up here. Diltz was down 5 spots from where he started. Zippy's back up only down 2, or sorry, tripping on my tongue here like you know, only down 2 spots now, back up into 5th. So he's still on his recovery run, trying to move forward. Next up on his list is Morgan Smith, but Morgan, unfortunately for Austin, is 9.5 seconds up the track.
Well, certainly, yeah. Austin Diltz was battling with the 22 of Ethan Reed before, and I think something must have happened maybe with Ethan Reed, because he's not only lost it to Austin Diltz, but he's lost it to Matilda Grabovac as well. So, Matija. We'll go with Matija Grabovac. It's definitely, you know, by all means, ladies and gentlemen, it's our first round here. Correct us on any pronunciations if we make a little bit of hash of that. But Ethan Reed there rocking that Porsche GTP, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta say, the GTP is definitely not my most familiar set of cars. Certainly, oh, Oh, we got a detour there, and Ethan Reed is going to take one back, and that's going to, I believe that's a Red Bull paint, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed. Matija Grabovac is now going to have to work hard again to try and regain that 6th place away from the 22.
Yeah, we have a quick look here at what happened to Grabovic as he was just ahead of Ethan Reed. So he just got up in the curb. Looks like the car got a little loose, caught the inside curb in there a little too hot into the corner. Gathered it up though, managed to keep it out of the grass and off the wall. So nice recovery there by Matija. Well done.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Read my mind. Absolutely beautiful recovery. But again, more battles happening throughout, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the GT3 lead may be at stake right now because Pedro Silva currently under attack from the number 11 car of Daniel Pino, who, despite my previous comment, he's driving the AMG, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, if I have a look, he is the only AMG on the field. So perhaps he's got some extra set of skills there. But saying that, if you look at the I rating of Pedro Silva, he's rocking about 3,800 IR. He's the highest ranked driver here in the split, and Daniel Pino 2,436. So definitely a little bit of a points gap there in terms of officials, but on pace right now, very, very evenly matched.
Yeah, definitely a deficiency in iRating, but not in the skills on track that we're seeing so far. So sometimes I find in Zippy you get in League Zippy you get guys who predominantly just race leagues. They don't do a whole lot of official ratings or races, so their ratings might be a little lower, but you get them in a league situation and they got a fire under their tires, and it looks like Daniel Pino might be one of those drivers. He's definitely well versed here tonight, sticking with a driver with almost 1,500 I rating higher than him. So well done so far by Daniel in the only Mercedes here tonight. I believe they buffed the Mercedes a little bit this season to bring it back a little closer on the BOP, so it's nice to see the Mercedes back towards the front of the GT3 fields.
Well, certainly, actually the AMG GT3 was the first one I ever drove, and it was actually a Daytona 24-hour as well. It was the first ever iRacing experience I had at a work colleague's house. I actually got invited over by a work colleague. That's wow, actually, I think that may be the last time that happened by a work colleague, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not get into my lack of social life. Certainly, if it was in the Pit Road Productions booth, Robert, I'm sure, would be cooking me a barbecue sometime in the summer. But surprise, Rob. Jokes on me. He can't. Jokes on me. He might not be able to cook. It might be food poisoning in a bowl. But ladies and gentlemen, you can see here we've got the WBM guys still going hard at it. Kyle Milson very much hot on the tail of Tanakrit Carney, but not yet able to make a move. And definitely one of the closest battles out there happening. About 7/10 per second. It looks like Malik Bass and Kyle Buchel as well. These guys are still going at it. And ladies and gentlemen, there is no team orders here. Kyle Buchel rocking that BMW, and certainly he's going to have to try a little bit harder if he wants to get the better of Malik Bass and move up into that 7th position.
Yeah, I think I got a replay queued up here, Zippy. Chris Rise, who we saw battling with teammate earlier, I'm flagging him here as having a crash. Let's take a quick look here at what happened to Chris. Looks like a GTP going around the outside. Oh, looks like he was trying to give him some space and just got a little loose in the back end of that Porsche. He's going to slide around. We're going to see his teammate pop by here shortly. Oh, that GTP scoots by at the last second. Fortunately, he was able to see him in enough time, but that could have went all kinds of wrong.
I got a feeling, honestly, having driven the Porsche GT3, I do find at times it will spin out. Certainly, I've been unfortunate to spin it that very corner, very car. And it's something about the setup of the car, because while it is, I believe it's technically mid-engine, realistically the engine's kind of in the trunk. It's mid-engine, but only just, ladies and gentlemen. It's negligible from what I can understand, and certainly I believe that the fuel tank may be in the front for that. And as the fuel bleeds off the car, it goes out the tailpipe, and big sounds, magic happens, adrenaline, and all that fun stuff. I believe the front end gets a little bit lighter, and then therefore gets a little bit more unstable as all the weight's at the rear axle, and it just certainly becomes a little bit harder to control in some of the corners. Oh, here we go. We got a pass here. Not quite, actually. Kyle Buchel was trying to get by, didn't quite manage to make it happen, and has a little bit of an excursion off track, as you can see there. That, I believe, is Austin Diltz behind, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Austin Diltz trying to snake his way through traffic, currently 3 positions down from where he started, and trying to make a recovery run. He was about 9 seconds, I believe, behind Morgan Smith before, and at the minute he's closing in roughly about half a second a lap. Actually, no, a little bit more than that, about 7/10 of a second a lap.
Yeah, we focused on Austin a few laps ago, and we had mentioned he was only about 9 seconds back. But yeah, as you mentioned, he's got that down to only just under 3 seconds now. So Austin putting some fire laps down so far. I believe actually had the fastest lap on track last time by almost 8 tenths. So he's found some pace. It's only a matter of time now whether he's going to catch up to Morgan Smith. So yeah, have a look at Morgan Smith up ahead, navigating through some GT3 traffic. No doubt he's starting to see Austin Dillon creep closer and closer on his relative, and it's going to start worrying about doing a little bit of mirror driving versus looking out the windshield here, Zippy. So we'll see if Morgan's able to buckle down and try and find some pace here as we're nearing the halfway mark.
Well, actually, speaking of the halfway mark, I think that's pretty much where Jordan Martin is right now. He's up 3 positions, and now he's trying to apply pressure to the back of Parker Doom. And you can see there, that's the second place car as well for the GT3 field. It's Daniel Pina. So it's going to be a battle for the second places, ladies and gentlemen. LMPH versus GT3. Certainly the LMPH is going to get it done, but these guys are going to have to weave and literally weave between the AMG. Almost, oh my gosh, incredibly close there on the inside of the Ferrari. Very much an assertive move, but if Jordan Martin is indeed the driver I'm thinking of, he has got incredible pace, pretty much wins everything he touches, ladies and gentlemen, and certainly he's going to have to try and find a little bit more now if he wants to try and sneak his way up onto the second step of the podium.
Yeah, I suspect Parker's trying to find a way to make that already wide Cadillac even wider than it is. It looks like Jordan Martin going to dive on the inside, gets it woed up into turn 10. He's going to make that pass, move up into second spot. Parker not going to let him by. So far, he's fighting back on the inside as they head around the final corner. It's nose to nose as they cross the line. Parker Doom going to hold on to that spot. Gave it up for a couple corners, but was able to snatch it right back into Jordan's hands.
Well, this is definitely going to be a absolutely epic battle. I do wonder if we could see off the back, actually, of Parker's car, just to see how close this guy is really getting. Certainly around that second to last corner, it has been, for lack of better words, incredibly sketchy in these GTPs. Myself, certainly in testing, I did find it was very much a lot of counter steer here. And look how much curb they're having to take as well to really maximize that exit. But right now, you can see he's holding on by about 6 tenths of a second. The slipstream will be prominent in these cars. Maybe not as much as something like a spec Ford, but enough that you will indeed get an advantage, and if not, you'll save some fuel as well. So if he wants to get ahead, he's really going to have to put his foot down, get things done, because right now he's holding on to that second position.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jordan Martin's close enough to make another run into turn 10 here. Looks like Parker Doom was able to find a couple tenths that lap to keep Jordan Martin at bay, but while they battle, that's allowing Stephen Finch out front start pull away from these two, as if he's now opened up over 5-second gap between second place. At one point in time, we saw Parker trying to put some pressure on Stephen, so this battle's cost him a chance at possibly top spot on the podium, but they're battling it out for the final 2 steps now as Jordan Martin has closed that gap again, trying to utilize the lap car of Yakab Fury in that Audi up ahead. I think that's the only Audi we have in the field here too as well tonight, so they're making the way around the lap traffic. That's going to cost Jordan Martin a couple tenths. Parker Doom loves to see that in his rearview mirror as he opens up 1.2 seconds over Jordan Martin.
Well, definitely a good use there of lap traffic, and a little bit of an update as well. I believe we've lost another one of the LMPH drivers, and that is Matija Grabovac. They've been out for a couple of laps now. I'm not quite sure why. They may have just parked it up when they ended up at the back, but certainly there was still opportunity in play. So I do wonder if there's maybe an event there for the number 12 car, but certainly they are out of it. Let's have a quick look here. Rob, what exactly happened?
Just looks like he got a little wiggly and decided to call it quits. I'm not sure if something happened earlier and he broke. It almost looked like the suspension kind of let go on the rear as it wiggled there, and then he bailed out. So I'll check and see if there's anything else, but that's the only thing I can see flagged right now, Zippy.
Oh, indeed. Red Bull on that occasion did not give him wings, and certainly if it did, I believe that would count as an off-track as the battle continues back there. But Tanakrit Carney still very much got his buddy in tow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a two-piece duet at this point between the two drivers of Tanakrit Carney and Malik Base. And again, that gap holding on incredibly steady. No, my apologies. It is Kyle Mills, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting so confused. I've got 2 different timing screens I keep looking at between 2 different softwares depending on what I'm doing, and I'm inherently reading them both wrong. Rob, redeem me, sir.
No problem. Yeah, we got Kyle Mills in the Mustang, the big old Mustang you said you hated earlier. He's currently leading around Tanakrit Carney. The two of them still nose to tail for the most part, although they've swapped spots. So I mentioned it earlier there. We'll see if there's a little bit of strategy where they would potentially swap spots to try and fuel save each other. So we've got the Mustang out front now, so we'll see if this is the strategy possibly that I
Oh,
called for earlier. But it's like Austin Dilt's into the pits. Something happened to him. We'll
oh.
see if we can pick that up here shortly. But while we do that, we'll head back to Parker Doom and Jordan Martin, and I'll see if I can find what happened to Austin Dilt's.
Well, the battle continues as they go sneaking through more of the GT3 field, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, it's going to be a test of the brave here, as you see the beautiful red chrome, followed by, I got to say, that's the stock BMW livery. Actually, I'm quite a fan. I do like it. Red, white, and blue. I'm going to say in this scenario, the colors of the Union Jack, and watch the whole world be outraged at such an accusation. But that's fine by me, ladies and gentlemen. You play to the field, and you can see there, and one of the GT3s, an Acura on this occasion, is going to be right there on the inside. Not going to quite get in the way of them as the battle continues there for second place. Stephen Finch has absolutely ran away with it at this point. Austin Dilt still in the pits. I don't think these guys have a fast repair. Let's find out exactly what happened.
It looks like Austin heading up through the S's. Oh, car just got loose out of shape.
Oh,
Tags the wall, and oh, you know where he hit? I'm sure you've found this spot many times, Zippy. The top of turn, I think it's 5 or 6. The top of the S's, when you're coming through, you carry it out wide over the curbing. If you don't hit it quite right, the car can bottom out and get loose, and I think that's what happened to Austin as he came up over that crest. Looked like the car bottomed out, got squirrely, and there was nothing he can do but just hold on and go for the ride at that point in time.
I've definitely been along for that ride, albeit not on Austin, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, as talented as an individual he is, he's well, he's not my type. We'll put it like that, ladies and gentlemen. He's maybe over-equipped for my preferences, ladies and gentlemen. But you see here, Curtis Matthews, he's getting into a little bit of battle with Frank Manarino. Again, we do want to find out how Frank and Michael are related. Certainly, I don't see there being two Manarinos purely by chance, ladies and gentlemen. But Curtis Matthews looking to try and pull away, as we've got one of the Manarinos, sorry, is in the pits. And I believe he actually took tires as well. Not sure I would have done that. Maybe a slight mishap there, but you can see actually the front end as well is back onto the car of Austin Dilton, number 14. We will have to find out if they get a fast repair. Rob, I'll have a quick look into that if you keep the go going there, sir.
Yeah, no problem. You go have a little bit of snack, a drink, kick your feet up, and we'll continue racing here. We still got the battle going on for second in GTP. Looks like Parker Doom has been able to hold off the charge of Jordan Martin for now. Jordan Martin going to be our first GTP, taking a pit stop here by choice and not by force as he's coming into the pits. So we're 28 minutes into this one. We're well into the pit window by the looks of it. We have Jordan Martin, our first GTP, into the pits. Our leader, Stephen Finch, he's going around for another lap. He's heading through the S's. I suspect we'll see him in within the next lap or two. Currently got 7 seconds over second place Parker Doom. So a little bit of a gap here. Steven could play a little strategy, may be able to back off the throttle too as well as start to fuel save, but we'll see when he decides to come in. Pop back here.
I'm just having a look
at Tyler L. Watson. Did you manage to find out what's going on there, Zippy?
I did, and ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get involved in more of the leagues that Envy Simsports is running, we're going to tell you a bit more about that later. But right now, I'm looking at how they organize a lot of them, and that's on SimGrid, ladies and gentlemen. And I can see straight away here that they do indeed have one fast repair. 25 incidents will get you a drive-through. Tires are optional. It's a rolling start. No full course yellows, no waiver rounds, and there is indeed, you will have to refuel. It is confirmed in the rules, ladies and gentlemen. And also, as well, anybody who feels they have an incident must report them within 24 hours on the incidents and reports section. But again, if you want to get more involved in this, let us know. But I can tell you as well, ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be a 3 hours of Sebring race this weekend. It's going to be at 15th of March at 3 o'clock Eastern. The 15th would be a Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. So certainly with the official 12 hours of Sebring coming up, if you wanted to get involved on the endurance side and take part of this fantastic league, ladies and gentlemen, just give us a shout out in the chat. Actually, we'll certainly point you in the right direction. We'd be happy to help. But again, keep involved. They have that as well. They've got the GT Sprint Series as well, the European Challenge. That is that started on the 7th of March. Let me work out what day that is. I believe that's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got Fridays and Thursdays. I think looking with the Envy Simsports screen. But certainly, you know, if you want to race, we can always get involved. Give us a shout in the chat, and we will very happily point you in the right direction.
Yeah, so what I take from that, Zippy, is plenty of racing to be had in this league for sure. As we take a look back here at our GT3 battle, we still haven't seen a pit stop from either one of these drivers. We've seen most of our GTP field come in and take fuel. So as you mentioned, they definitely were hindered in the fuel department. They must make a pit stop. I suspect we'll see our GT3s in a few laps. I imagine they staggered the fuel load enough so that all the cars weren't coming in at the same time, so that there wasn't quite so much overlap in the GTP field. But we see Parker Doom into the pits. He was the leader as our previous leader, Stephen Fitch, tucked in to take his pit stop. We see Stephen coming out of turn 12. He's going to head across the line and he'll retake top spot in the GTP field. We'll have to see where Parker Doom comes out as he's still in the pits. We see him heading out of pit exit now. It's going to be a little closer. I think Parker's been able to close that gap through pit strategy a little bit over Stephen Finch. That gap now down to about 3 seconds. So it was 7 seconds earlier on. A quick pit stop for Parker Doom. Hopefully he took enough fuel to get him to the end.
Well, from the information I have in front of me, Stephen Finch was in the box for about 15.9 seconds. Parker Doom in the box for 13.7, so about 2.2 seconds gap there. So imagine that would have accounted for a little bit of the change. But you can see Jordan Martin as well. He's there lurking in the background. He's already pit as well. 14.9, so kind of the middle of the top three there. Morgan Smith, 14.1. Ethan Reed, 13.1, the shortest of all the drivers. So certainly Ethan Reed will be somebody to keep an eye out there in terms of fuel. He's driving the Porsche as well, the only Porsche remaining for the hybrid. So maybe that car is indeed a little bit more frugal on fuel. Maybe he's not took enough, but I believe there's going to be another battle emerging there for that second place spot between Parker Doom and Jordan Martin.
Yeah, Martin got that gap down to under 1 second now. So Jordan Martin came in a lap or two earlier than Parker, so he's going to have his tires back up to temp a little quicker than Parker is so far. Parker probably going to need this lap, complete lap, to get the tires back up to temp. So we'll see how that plays out here as they go along. But up ahead, Stephen Finch starting to open that gap back up over Parker Doom in second. So Finch kind of picking up where he left off, even with a little bit of a slower pit stop, but he's still got the pace on track to keep himself out front.
Well, he's going to have to keep trying. And again, these guys have been going at it pretty much the entire race. Ladies and gentlemen, Pedro da Silva and Daniel Pino, literally, they've been inseparable the whole race. Less than a second between them. And I like it better words, they just keep going. It is very much a blues and rhythm section going on. And oh, I guess I'm not musically talented enough to continue making that pun. Where is Mike Reese when you want him? Certainly, I think he's busy posing in front of a BMW E30 last time I checked. And you can see here the GT3 field as well. That's gone and bunched up a little bit. You can see Tanner Crickani, he's behind Kyle Mills now. Certainly, these guys swapped over a little bit earlier. But you can see who's ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Borbetto. He's currently there rocking that third place podium, but very much in his own little world at the minute. And what I believe is actually, I think that's a replica livery there.
Yeah,
on his Porsche.
What did they call it? They used it on the hill climb car that they had. Can't remember what it was called. The pork something. It escaped me. If you asked me tomorrow, I'd know for sure. But you're right. It is a replica paint scheme. It identifies all the meat parts of the pig.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, certainly get a little bit of screen time there for them. Kyle Buchel, currently, he's doing okay. And you can see there, a little bit behind him, Malik Bass. He's about 8 tenths, 9 tenths of a second. He's going to be keen. You see Malik taking a very wide line there. And it literally just trying to get into that slipstream, do everything he can. The WBM driver certainly applying the pressure right now. And it is indeed working. He's managed to close in about a tenth of a second. Very crucial on the exit here. You want to carry as much speed as you can, slight little bit of rotation there, maybe a little bit of undesired rotation there as he puts his foot down on that gas pedal. And certainly he's going to keep it going. He's in that drafting range, but you see there, he's going to have to do just that little bit more. Maybe be able to close up a little bit into turn 10A and 10B.
Yeah, definitely getting closer. Wasn't quite close enough to utilize enough draft to close that gap. But if I remember correctly, I think the Corvettes generally are fairly strong here compared to the BMWs. The BMWs are a bit of a heavier, wider car where they don't really like to turn all that much, as if they like to go straight. But we see Malik doing a little bit of landscaping there for the grounds crew, kicking up some dirt, debris onto the track. I'm sure Tyler Watson and Michael Morbetto on behind aren't overly thrilled with having that debris thrown up at them, but they'll have to deal with it as they head through into the S's now.
Well, certainly, you know what, Road Atlanta is indeed one of my favorite tracks, and I do envy these guys for getting to drive it. Certainly myself, I think I'm going to stay out of the GTPs for the sustainable future, ladies and gentlemen, in pure consideration for the rest of my iRacing competitors. And by competitors, I mean people who let me be on the track with them. But again, this battle's starting to heat up between Jordan Martin and Parker Doom. Actually, Jordan Martin's been able to sneak ahead at some point. Let's see if we can get a replay of that, actually, Rob. There we go. So here you can see Jordan Martin in the background, GT3 surrounding them, and it looks like Jordan's going to get an absolute belter of a run there into 10A. Parker looking to fight back, trying to go for the over-under, gets it side by side as they're going up over the hill. Now the inside of that corner there, very, very loose surface, not quite able to get it done. Keeps applying the pressure as they go across the start-finish line, and that was potentially what has given Jordan the lead, ladies and gentlemen, but Parker's still there fighting, but sadly he's dropped back to now about 1.3 seconds behind the second place car of Jordan Martin in the number 9.
Yeah, we saw a similar move to that a few laps earlier by Jordan Martin, and Parker Doom was able to fight back through the same corner, but unfortunately this time Parker Doom had to give up the ghost, and Jordan Martin was able to hold on to that spot. So now Jordan's going to set his sights on Stephen Finch. He's actually already caught up to him very quickly. Stephen slowed down a little bit by the traffic. Now we got a battle for first place. All of a sudden, Zippy for GTP. See Jordan Martin doing a little bit of a razzle-dazzle as they head down the back straight, letting him know I'm here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I do enjoy seeing a set of high beams, but that's not necessarily the variety that I had in mind, but it's the ones that Stephen Finch are going to be getting a full-on view in the rearview mirror, as it is indeed a GTP battle. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a BMW versus an Acura on this occasion as they're heading around the final turn, but not for the final lap. There's still a couple of minutes left to go. We've not hit the white flag just yet, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a last couple of lap showdown between the number 3 and the number 9, Stephen Finch versus Jordan Martin.
Yeah, this battle I think is going to go down to the wires. Both of them running similar times, 1:10.14 last time for Stephen Finch to a 1:10.12 for Jordan Martin. So damn near identical if you want to take it one way or the other. As you see Finch go a little wide, we saw what happened to Austin Diltz earlier when he got out there. Fortunately for Finch, not suffering the same fault that Diltz had earlier, but that's going to allow Martin to close up on the back tailpipe. See Finch getting heavy onto the throttle, a little squirrel out there. Jordan Martin looking to the inside. He's trying to show Finch that he's there, ready to make a move. I suspect we'll see a possible move by Jordan Martin heading into turn 10, but they got some GT3 traffic up ahead.
Well, this could get very dicey, ladies and gentlemen, as they're going to force it free wide on the entrance into 10A. Jordan looking to do everything he can, not just that, unsettle the driver. Thankfully, no contacts involved. Certainly, the GT3s would have been very aware, potentially a little bit nervous of these guys coming through. I know I certainly would have been as the battle continues. Still no white flag, ladies and gentlemen, and if it is, I haven't seen it. As you see Stephen Finch holding on to the lead. Look how close Jordan Martin is, under a tenth of a second now as they're going up the hill. That's the GT3 that's been in contact with the Audi. The Audi's gone off, it's sliding forward, and Stephen Finch has to take to the exit slip road. Jordan Martin, is this going to be the opportunity he needed? Maybe, maybe not. Will there be a slowdown for the number 3 of Stephen Finch? And he used the GT3 traffic to indeed serve that slowdown and keep the number 9 behind him. He's definitely got to try. I think he heard me.
I don't know if there was contact there, Zippy. If there wasn't, there was only about a couple inches of hair in between the two of them. But this battle's allowed Parker Doom to sneak up into it too as well. So we've got a little over 5 minutes to go, and we got a 3-car battle for the top spot in GTP.
Well, this is going to indeed be very good. Now, if you are in the 57 car, not only are you the camera vehicle potentially for this battle, but certainly are you going to be able to capitalize? They've almost come to contact a couple of times. You see that a little bit of wheel spin there from the number 9 of Jordan Martin. You see the lap traffic kind of getting in the way a little bit, and that's going to push him down 5 tenths, 6 tenths of a second. Very unfortunate there for the WBM Racing driver, but the battle continues as they're going yet again almost side by side through turn 1, and that looks like a little bit, yeah, he's gone and caught the grass, able to keep hold of it. Just about. It's BMW versus BMW, GTP versus GT3, and that is exactly what Stephen Finch needed. It's enough of a hold-up that this could be the race in the back for the number 3 car. Shut up and drive it.
Yeah, I could have swore that Stephen Finch would have had a slowdown through the S's, so he must have been able to serve it and not give up any time, so well done by him. But some absolute banger navigation of the GT3 traffic there has allowed him to open up 1.1 seconds over Jordan Martin, but we've seen Martin has a ton of speed. Let's see if he's able to close that gap down again, Zippy, as we're running low on time. 4 minutes to go in this one.
Well, certainly as well. I'm very much enjoying this race, and the GT3 not able to really play into it there. As you can see, one of the Ferraris there, the WBM Racing Ferraris, that is Carney, sorry, he's there, able to sneak by, and yep, there you go. The beam. Oh, that's contact, and that is a royal contact. Well, that. Oh no!
Oh, it's just going from bad to worse here, Zippy.
That's a replay job.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Parker Doom, who we saw getting close up into that, unfortunately, he just tangled with Jordan Martin as he came back on. And see if we can pick up a replay here with Jordan Martin heading into the final corner.
You see there, he's going over, and we know it's a little bit loose there, just carries a little bit too much speed, absolutely clobbers the Ferrari, clobbers the wall. I gotta be honest, I'd say he was on the brakes, but with that kind of speed, he's just ricocheting. Parker Doom, nowhere to go, but that has actually worked out in the favor of another WBM driver, that's Morgan Smith. But let's have a look on board. Rob, take us through it.
Yeah, we're on board with Parker Doom. You can see the Ferrari off at the end, and not really much Parker could do there as Jordan Martin hit the wall and just gets thrown back out on track. Unfortunate for him, but just one of those things in racing, Zippy, that happens.
Well, you can see there that wheel is absolutely mullered, for lack of better words. But to quote the very wise Canadian comedian and indeed very successful actor Jim Carrey, that's gotta hurt.
Most of our crowd probably out there doesn't even know who Jim Carrey is, Zippy, but we'll give you credit.
Oh my gosh.
The Zennials in the...
That's bad.
They just don't know. As we're back on board here with Pedro da Silva, we didn't pick it up, but Daniel Pino managed to get around a Pedro Silva. While we were watching the GTP battle, I'll have to see if I can pick that up, as Pedro da Silva was our leader for the majority of this race, but now Daniel Pino in the Mercedes has moved up top.
Well, I can see in the event log that Pedro Silva did indeed have an off-track, but I don't see yet where the pass was made. Certainly see if you can find that, but definitely it's worked out very good for Stephen Finch and very good for Morgan Smith. Morgan Smith actually resting in second, but let's see if this is the move. See Daniel Pino as they're going up on the second to last corner. That's where you can see there. Looks like Silva's gone there in the pits. Has he maybe not taken enough fuel?
Oh, maybe. Or I wonder if he's serving a drive-through. Let's see if he pulls into his stall or not, or if he...
Well, what's interesting, Rob, right now I'm looking at the timing, and according to what I can see, Pedro Silva was in the box for 7.4 seconds. This is alarming. Daniel Pino in the box for just 4.5 seconds. That's it. So he may have indeed been able to fuel save during that race, but that Ferrari potentially underfueled in the number 55. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Luckily for Da Silva, they had a big enough gap over third place. He was able to pit and come back out and still be in second in GT3. But as we see our leader getting a push now from the Acura, the 555 of Curtis Matthews, giving our leader Stephen Finch a little bit of help through that corner.
Well, I got to say, Curtis Matthews is very much motivated to keep going, because that Ferrari just ahead of him is indeed for position. That's Frank Manarino. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a battle for 12th in class. You can see it there. Frank Manarino up 12 positions so far, and that Acura looking to get into the mix. The Porsche behind it not actually involved in that battle. That's third place, ladies and gentlemen. As we see the white flag, ladies and gentlemen, white flag. Stephen Finch. Was it a checkered flag?
White flag.
No, white flag. Okay. It's moving too quick, ladies and gentlemen. Moving too quick. But right now, Stephen Finch up there. He's in first. Morgan Smith, despite being 42 seconds behind, he's in second right now. And I have a feeling we may be seeing movement there from the number 9 of Jordan Martin.
Yeah, it looks like Martin's back out on track. He's fallen down to 4th place, but he's back on track. Parker Doom looks like he's still in the pit stall, so I don't think we'll see Parker back out before the checkered flag. But our leader, Stephen Finch, heading through turn 6 and 7 onto the back straight for the last time, Zippy. Barring any major catastrophe, he's going to bring home the win in week 1 of this series.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was indeed a commentator's curse, and I take absolutely zero responsibility for it as I throw my comrade under the bus should that occur in the nicest possible way, I might add. He's going to go in goatee first, but Stephen Finch bringing it around 10A and 10B. Certainly one of the most enjoyable corners here at Road Atlanta. Certainly, I'd say the second most enjoyable corner, but he's bringing it round the final turn. Barney's absolutely waving that thing like his life depends on it. As Stephen Finch, ladies and gentlemen, shut up and drive it. The number 3 car takes the debut win. As we see here as well, Daniel Pino, he's still got a bit of a way to go, leading the GT3 field. Stephen Finch was not indeed ahead of him, so these guys are going to still be in play for another lap. You can see there, Pedro Silva is a little bit of a way back, ladies and gentlemen, but not going to be able to capitalize on that opportunity.
Yeah, we're hoping Pino took enough fuel load, remember, Zippy, to get to the end. You mentioned that he was a little shy on pit time versus the rest of the GT3 field. We saw De Silva had to tuck in to get a little splash and dash, and he's closing up quick on Pino. I wonder if Pino is really nursing the fuel on that car, trying to get to the line, as we're seeing De Silva really close that gap.
Well, from what I'm reading, it's telling me that Pedro is indeed 58 seconds behind, so I'm not quite sure what's happening. Yeah, like that would make sense, a whole lap there. So don't get me wrong, he may get the satisfaction of passing for position, but realistically, he's going to be looking at that AMG ahead of him and just hoping that he runs out of fuel going up the hill.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm showing 3/10, so I'm not sure what's going on with timing and scoring here, but there was a dash to the line. Daniel Pino looks like he's going to hold on to take the win either way.
Well, I got to say, but 4.5 second pit stop, that is absolutely incredible. As you see there, a couple of the guys showing a little bit of celebration, perhaps. And I got to say, thankfully, nothing inappropriate drawn on the track. And if they did, I would find that greatly amusing as a little bit of an ass smack in there on the race winner for GT3, the Mustang. Ladies and gentlemen, the people in the crowd should very much check their health insurance, make sure it's renewed and up to date. As I got to say, a brilliant job of doing donuts. A little bit of a smack here and there, but you know the intention's good. There's a car kiss there for the teammate.
Yeah, so that's going to take care of our racers. Zippy, let's take a look at the final results. As we got Stephen Finch, so we mentioned, manages to take it pole to pole as the winner. Morgan Smith recovery run into second. Ethan Reed in third. Parker Doom rounds out top 4. Jordan Martin the top 5 in GTP. And then we got Daniel Pino, our winner in GT3. Pedro De Silva in second. Michael Morbetto rounds out the podium in GT3. Javi Sierra in 9th overall, 4th in class. Kyle Mills rounds out the top 5 and 10th overall.
You just lost me. I'm sorry. I'm DMing through interviews. Carry on.
No problem. In 11th, we've got Kyle Buchel in 6th in class. Malik Base, 12th overall. 8th in class, Michael Monero, 13th overall and 9th in class. And Michael Rushton, in 14th. And he's going to round out the top 10 in GT3. Yakab Fury in 15th. Tyler Watson, 16th overall. Frank Manarino in 17th overall. Curtis Matthews in 18th. Chris Rise, 19th overall. And Tanikrit Carney rounds out the top 20. Then we pick up Abel Gabel in 21st, Joseph Kronk at 27th. And unfortunately, Austin Diltz, Matija Grabovic, and Gabriel Crozer didn't see the checkered flag.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been able to catch up with the race winner for the hybrid series. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Finch. Now, he started there on the pole. He was able to hold on, but certainly you had an absolutely fantastic battle there with Jordan Martin in the number 9 car. Tell us a little bit about how that was from your point of view.
Sweaty. These cars are an absolute handful to drive now. And so pushing on them is very, very difficult. But it was overall, it was a really good race, and it was a really good battle with Jordan there. It was unfortunately we made a little bit of contact going up into turn 2, 3. But it was a good race.
Well, certainly it looked like a lot of fun and certainly some honourable driving. But I've got to say, we did see maybe a little bit of use there of the lap traffic. We did see, I thought you maybe got a slowdown at one point. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Did you actually get a slowdown, and did you be able to successfully use lap traffic to kind of bleed that off and retain the position?
Yes, I did. So when Jordan and I contacted each other, I wasn't able to get the car slowed down enough to make turn 3. So I just went straight and just took it easy through the S's and bled the slowdown off.
Well, definitely a very good strategic move there. And I've got to say, huge congratulations for winning the debut round here at the International Sports Car Series. But I've got to say, quite the spicy paint as well. I'm definitely not going to give you a hard time for that. But actually, Playboy, I got a feeling a few people would like to give a hard time, ladies and gentlemen. But Stephen, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just my race team of IPM and my partner Ethan for this.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Ethan Reed would that be?
Yes, that would be Ethan Reed.
Perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it does look like we did indeed have another team here on the grid, but that is your race winner for the hybrid cars, and certainly definitely a good testament there to the tyres as well. Very much under pressure. But ladies and gentlemen, the number 3 car, Mr. Stephen Finch.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're kind of hoping Daniel Pino looks to try and make an appearance here in the interview room. If you're watching, that's your subtle hint to come on in. But Rob, maybe give us a couple of highlights you found from the race that were particularly enjoyable, sir.
Well, definitely. We saw a great battle in GTP when kind of mid-race, it looked like Stephen Finch was going to kind of run away with it. And then once we got thick into the multi-class traffic, we saw how that can really play a factor where Stephen ultimately ended up having to come back to the field with traffic slowing him up a little bit, and that gave Jordan Martin and Parker Doom a chance to try and take the win. And then we saw what happened there. Unfortunately, another one of the unfortunate circumstances that can happen in multi-class racing where Jordan got tied up with the, trying to remember, I think that might have been the WBM, the red and chrome colored Ferrari. Unfortunate for the two drivers there. I believe that was Tanacrit Carney, possibly, I believe. But
I believe so,
for
yeah.
them, it's just one of the downfalls or pitfalls of multi-class racing. We mentioned it earlier on where tight track, these two cars, the speed difference between the two of them could play a real role in traffic, and we saw how that played out.
Well, definitely it is indeed, as you said, one of the things about multi-class racing, and sometimes it gives and sometimes it takes away. But we've not been able to get Daniel Pino into the interview booth, so I'm going to see if we can steal one of the WBM guys. Ideally, honestly, Morgan Smith. He's the one who's been able to, try and get this league on the move. I'm going to see if I can find him very quickly. Rob, I'll be right back. You please keep the show going, sir.
I will do my best. So I'm just having a quick look. Next week, we are heading to Watkins Glen. I believe it's another one of Zippy's, as he calls them, princess approved tracks. So it'll be interesting to see Watkins Glen, another track that relatively features multi-class very often. So much like Road Atlanta actually features a 10-hour race in real life with these cars plus the hypercars. So you can only imagine how busy that is with 50 to 60 cars on track all one time, especially in the dark. Watkins Glen features a 6-hour race in real life. So again, a car track combo that's familiar to these cars. So I suspect most of our drivers will have a lot of track time on Watkins. It's another one of the heavily participated tracks on the service. Another track I particularly like. I actually love this schedule they've got built up for the season, all of except for maybe Aragon later on in the season. I can't say there's really a track on this that I don't like, Zippy. So looks like you've managed to find Morgan Smith out of the bowels of the internet and brought him into the booth. We'll let you have a little chat with him.
Well, I've got to say, Morgan, or Mo, as he's more affectionately known, one of the leaders over at WBM Racing, and certainly, one of the big supporters here of this series. A huge thanks to him. But Mo, tell us a little bit about what you've got intended for the International Sports Car Series.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. The broadcast went great. I want to start by thanking John and the guys at Envy Simsports, the couple admins, especially Alberto. They've been nothing but accommodating. Me and John agree about a lot of stuff, and I really like the role they've taken on with the league. It's awesome so far. So hopefully we can get some of those admin guys out here racing with us. I think for the International Sports Car Series here, it's a lot of races back to back. It's every week for 12 weeks. There's 1 week off after 9. So I would expect some guys to miss the race. I would expect the points to stay, pretty involved for everybody as those guys miss those races in and out. I know my team here had a couple guys that couldn't make it tonight, so hopefully we get a few more cars on grid. But with the traffic and the new tire update, there was plenty going on out there for everybody, I think.
Well, that's definitely something I can attest to, as you had the satisfaction and amusement of watching me try and drive a GTP last night. But I gotta say, Mo, you've done an absolutely fantastic job, both yourself, John, and the whole community, indeed, of not only getting this league together, but not only that, 25 drivers on the debut round, which is honestly absolutely fantastic. But I gotta say, definitely a lucky strike for you, able to sneak that second place with an instant near the end there. The car color of your choice today, almost appearing like a four-leaf clover. So I do wonder, do you think perhaps feel the need to go out and buy a lottery ticket or something, or do you feel like you've already won?
Yeah, you know what? I was trying to change my paint. I tried to change it 3 times for some reason, couldn't get it to load. Decided to just load in anyways, and here we are, like you said, with the lucky clover car now. So I might stick it around. Might have it stick around. Might reload the paint back in. But with the second place, yeah, kill him with patience, right? It's multi-class, so just drive safe. I tagged a wall. Ended up having to drive the last 7 minutes really safe, but I had the space to do it, so we got away with it.
Oh, definitely a absolutely fantastic drive there by Morgan Smith. It's certainly a very lucky endeavor indeed. But Morgan, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, mostly my team and Envy. It's been a good partnership so far. I really appreciate them being able to host. Like I said, they haven't asked much of me, so we're glad to be able to come in here and race and be a part of the broadcast and all that good stuff. My team taking a little bit of a hiatus since around Christmas time with some endurance races, especially Daytona. So it's good to have all the guys in chat together again. So just big shout out to them for sticking around the team and being part of the gig here.
Well, definitely. I think about half the field was maybe about WBM drivers. Certainly, I recognized a few names and then I got to learn a few more. But, ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Smith there, your second place finisher for the LMPTP hybrid class. Well, Rob, that was an absolute belter of a debut, I've got to admit. I definitely enjoyed it. As we're going to head on, actually, where we're heading to next, there was definitely another Zippy-approved track.
Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen.
Yeah, we may have to get Richard in here for that so I can drive, ladies and gentlemen, or at least try to drive, certainly. Again, it's literally in my order as well. Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, and then I think it's Daytona off the top of my head. I don't know, it's Daytona or Sebring. I get literally a whole line.
I had it right here in front. It is Daytona and then Sebring and then Road America. The first 5 tracks.
Jealous of your camera as well. As you look down, your camera's like, what you doing? But ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Certainly as well. Not only that, it's actually the first GT3 we've actually had over on Pit Road Productions as well, which is surprising. The most popular road racing series, and we finally get it here on Pit Road Productions. But I think that's just about all from me. Rob, any closing thoughts, sir?
No, like I said earlier when you were trying to chase down Morgan, it was a hell of a start to the season. I can't think we can ask for much more of this one. We had some multi-class battles. We saw the perils and the pitfalls that can happen in multi-class, a lot of passing, a lot of battles. So it's all we can really ask for. I think we're going to see another great one next week at Watkins Glen. So I look forward to that one.
Oh, definitely yourself and myself as well. And I've just got a message from Richard Swindell saying he's racing real cars. Ladies and gentlemen, that is an RC car and he's doing that in a mall. Certainly, if you want to go and see him and give him some stick, by all means, go ahead and do it. Get a picture. And I will make sure it ends up on the Pit Road Productions YouTube at some manner. But that's about it from us here at Pit Road Productions. My name is, and I guess always will be, Daniel Zippy Salmon. And joining me in the booth today, Rob the Goatee Campbell. It's not quite a goatee today. It was more the other day, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next time for, well, I guess, the International Sports Car Challenge.